Major League Baseball still facing backlash after pulling their All Star Game out of Georgia over its voting reform move, moving it to Colorado. The move is estimated to cost Cobb County in Georgia more than $100 million alone. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy is in Atlanta on this Tuesday morning, meeting with business owners hurt by this, and he joins us now live. Good morning to you, Leader.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. I'm down here seeing small businesses. You know, I started my first small business when I was 20.
Right.
It's not $100 million to Cobb County. It's to these small businesses, these restaurants, these event planners, these security companies. The first company I ran into this morning, haven't even had a meeting, just ran into them. They said they lost $20,000. And think about what they just struggled for the last year going through COVID. And this was an uninformed decision by Major League Baseball, a bunch of woke companies driven by the president. And think how much impact this president has made. And it's the places he won't go. What has he done to our border by making it insecure? They won't tour there. He comes to Georgia, but he doesn't go see small businesses. He doesn't understand the struggle they're going through and the damage that he just did to them and their ability to even survive.
Well, and you look at Joe Biden, he was actually down in Georgia last week, but, you know, over the last couple of weeks, he's referred to their voting reform bill and law as Jim Crow on steroids. But at the same time, when you look at it, and if anybody reads the bill, as a number of people from Georgia have said, look, the bill makes it harder to cheat and easier to vote. And the people who say it's racist have not read it.
That is so true. These are uninformed decisions. I think Joe Biden, especially the damage that he's done by making accusations that are not true, that here we have the states' rights to deal with their laws, but they opened more time for people to vote. They made security. And remember, Republicans, Democrats, and independents overwhelmingly support the concept of an ID because they want to be able to trust their elections. They want their elections to be honest, open, transparent. That's what happened here, but not with Joe Biden and not with these woke companies moving an all-star game away from the small businesses that have struggled for the last year, the damage that they have done.
On the Republican Party in the House, you are the #1 Republican in leadership. Steve Scalise is #2. Liz Cheney is #3. There are a number of reports out right now, Leader McCarthy, that some of your allies are saying we're unhappy with her in leadership because she voted to impeach President Trump, and now they're vowing a vote to get rid of her. What can you tell us about that?
No, there's no concern about how she voted on impeachment. That decision has been made. I have heard from members concerned about her ability to carry out the job as conference chair, to carry out the message. We all need to be working as one if we're able to win the majority. Remember, majorities are not given, they are earned. And that's about the message about going forward. Combating Joe Biden, what he's done to this border by making it unsecure and what's coming across. Just what he's doing here about small businesses, not opening schools, not getting us back to work, back to health, back to normal. That's the message we should be talking about. I haven't heard members concerned about her vote on impeachment. It's more concerned about the job ability to do and what's our best step forward that we can all work together instead of attacking one another.
I don't know if your ears were burning last night in the 8 o'clock hour, but Tucker Carlson said he had received a tip that you have been living with pollster and corporate consultant Frank Luntz. What's up with that?
I didn't know how this was controversial. Frank has been a friend of mine for more than 30 years. I met him with Newt Gingrich back when they were working on the contract with America. You know, as the Democrats took over, they started changing the House around. And so, yeah, I rented a room for Frank for a couple months, but don't worry, I'm going back to where I normally am on my couch in my office.
Well,
but,
Tucker was...
yeah, we paid fair market rate.
He
seems upset. I think he and Tucker must dislike each other, and I don't think that's right. They need to get together and solve whatever difficulties, because we've got to make sure that we put this country back on the right track. We're so successful under President Trump, and what President Biden is doing today, the last thing we want to do is be fighting among ourselves.
I think Leader McCarthy, Kevin McCarthy, I think Tucker was...
Yes.
Tucker was questioning whether it was a conflict that the top Republican in the House had a roommate situation with a top corporate consultant and lobbyist, as he referred to him.
Well, Well, Frank's not a lobbyist. Frank's a friend I knew 15 years before I ever got in, and I just rented a room for a few months there. So I don't see that there's any problem along that line, but I'd like to see everybody stay together. Let's work to make sure we put people back to work, back to health, back to school, stop this woke movement that's going on. That's what I'm doing in Atlanta today, meeting with small businesses, just as I struggled when I started mine. And the 3 lessons I always learned in my small businesses: you were the first to work, last to leave, and last to be paid. And now we've got a government trying to hurt your business. I'm going to fight for them to keep them open.
All right. Leader Kevin McCarthy, we thank you very much for joining us today from Atlanta. Good luck talking to those small business owners.
Thank you.